What if sovereignty wasn't emotional, but structural? What if liberation wasn't something you feel, but something you build? What if the wealth we're waiting to inherit is the wealth we were meant to establish? Because the truth is, freedom without structure collapses. Structure without sovereignty becomes control. This is why at HWPLP, we don't chase access. We build architecture. We build trust structures. We build PMAs. We build SEBs. And we build governance that houses sovereignty. Great awakening, magnificent people. I am Jazmian D. Thank you so much for joining the Generational Rhodium. It is the media and healing branch of HWPLP. HWPLP stands for Health, Wealth, Prosperity, Love, Peace. We are a movement-driven investment firm committed to building generational wealth through healing, collective economics, real estate, and venture capital. Please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And please visit our website at HWPLP to join our mailing list and also learn more about the movement. This is the last episode of our series from the newsletter entitled Building Tables, Not Asking for Seats. Now let's get into this magnificence. For many Black, Indigenous, and Moorish families, trust funds, they feel like something other people do. We've been taught that they are for the wealthy, for the elite, for the privileged, for the families that have owed money. But here's the truth, the energetic truth. We were systematically barred from the very tools that protect our legacy. From slavery through Jim Crow, we were denied land, legal standings, banking, access, property ownership, and the rights to pass assets through protected structures. So trust funds became a symbol of privilege, whiteness, exclusion, and a word that we weren't allowed to enter. Not because we lacked intelligence, but because we lacked access. And here's a deeper truth. Most of our people were never taught that you don't have to wait for a trust fund. You can create one. Let's talk about the psychology of this. Generational exclusion creates emotional inheritance. In a 2022 Wealth Transfer Awareness Study, it found that 23% of Black Americans feel confident about estate planning. 23% confident. 23% feel confident about estate planning. And then in a 2020 Merrill Lynch Legacy Report, it found that 18% of Black families have a will or a trust. 18%? Which is compared to 64% of white families. Reasons why this is not okay, are the reasons why we think that this is okay, is that we say to ourselves, I don't know where to start. I don't think I even have enough to protect. No one in my family ever had one of those. We have to stop that. In a 2021 APA Psychology and Wealth Study, it showed that something even deeper than this. Many of us carry an unconscious belief of unworthiness, a belief that says you need wealth first before you build structure. Instead of the real truth, the structure is what creates the wealth. This leads to us having an avoidance attitude, a fear of legal systems, a misunderstanding, and a dependency on an institution that defines value that was never created for you to build wealth. 80% of Black-owned wealth is lost in one generation. Please let that sink in. 80% is lost in one generation. How do you get to a place of owed money if only one generation the money is gone? It needs to be more structure in our plans. And this might not be because we lack the effort. We lack the structure and the protection. We were conditioned to inherit wages and not structures, to work inside systems and not build our own governance, to seek access and not sovereignty. This is a legacy gap that we have to leave behind, and it has to close, because this is not going to continue as our norm. We want to reframe this. We can do this with having a living irrevocable trust. And this is not just for rich families. It's not just for them. It is a governance system. It is a private legal home for our assets, our mission, our land, our businesses, our agreements, and our lineage. It is a container that outlives us. It protects our wealth from probate, from courts, from exploitation, from external controls. Now I want to make something clear. A trust fund is something you wait to receive. A trust is something you establish and govern. One is passive and inheritance, and the other is active and sovereignty. Sovereign people create trust to protect their land, to shield their assets, to establish private law, to transfer wealth outside the public jurisdiction, and internally build continuity across generations. This is where the PMA and the SEBs come in. A PMA is a private member association. It is a private member only spiritual aligned governance that exists outside of a state of inheritance. And then a SEB is a spiritual economic body that is a trust structure entity for assets, mission protection, and multiple generation legacy. Together with these two layered, they create sovereignty. Personal sovereignty through the individual trust, and collective sovereignty can be through what we have with HWPLP is HWPLP trust and a PMA ecosystem. This is not just paperwork. This is how you build your wealth. This is nation building. Let me share a story with you. A family inherits nothing but a small piece of ancestral land. Developers come and they circle. And the county is starting to threaten to seize this probate or seize this property because probate is looming, because this inheritance is in jeopardy. They don't have money. They have this property and they have knowledge and wisdom. The matriarch of that family creates a living irrevocable trust. She moves the land into that trust. She forms a PMA. She governs the family. 10 years later, they still have that land. They've built on that land. They've built healing land, healing centers. They've built homes. They built farmlands. They built law structures. They established internal governance without courts, without probates, with no state interference. That is structure, that is protection, that is the land becoming a self-sustaining engine of wealth, food, and protection. They did not have to wait for somebody to build a trust fund for them. They built it themselves, a trust-based nation they created. And so can you. Let's take a moment to do a breathing exercise. This is so that we can activate the sovereignty which is in us, which we are. This is going to be a box 6. Inhale 6, hold 6, exhale 6, hold 6. I'll say some affirmations. Let's close our eyes or soften our gaze. Inhale. I reclaim what is mine. Hold. I establish what will outlive me. Exhale. I release dependency. Let it go. Hold. I stand in sovereignty. Round 2. Inhale. I reclaim what is mine. Hold. I establish what will outlive me. Exhale. I release dependency. Exhale. I stand in sovereignty. Last time. Inhale. I reclaim what is mine. Hold. I establish what will outlive me. Exhale. I release dependency. Hold. I stand in sovereignty. Now, keeping your eyes closed, see your trust as a chamber of light. See your assets moving under your authority and the structure you create in that authority. See your ancestors standing amongst you and smiling in reverence. See your lineage walking through the doors you built. This is your sovereign chamber. You created it. It is yours. And so it is. Thank you. At HWPLP, we don't wait for structures. We build them. Our SEB trust holds assets, properties, IPs, and it protects them from external interference. And it ensures continuity. Our PMA is a private member-based governance. It shields our decisions, our agreements, our mission. Our wealth circle circulates capital with the community, not away from it, within it. And each member builds their sacred business inside their personal trust to protect, keep it private, and allow inheritance for generations to come. Now I want to give you some tools. First tool is a sovereign inventory. List everything you need to protect: land, business, savings, IP, digital assets, family heirlooms. List them, because we don't do that enough. We just think, oh, we don't have that much. But when you sit down to list, you'll be surprised at how much you have and how much you've been downplaying the wealth that is yours. 2, a trust starter map. Most of us haven't even thought about a trust, but think about a successor. Think about your purpose, your rules, your lineage, your values. Start to think in that mentality, because as we saw those statistics, 23% have trust. We need to think about this, because how can we live in a life that we say we want to be wealthy, be rich, have this, have that, but we're not doing the structures to actually secure it? Yeah, it is. Yeah, that culture of YOLO, you only live once. Absolutely. But if you only gonna live once, make sure that your lineage is living good too. Make sure you have something structured so it's not just for you. Number 3, a PMA readiness question. Now, in these questions, you need to say, who are my people? What must be private? What can be protected? Because you can be we're in a dual structure system with HWPLP. We have some things public, some things private. But you have to determine what things should be public and what things should be private. You have to sit down and make these decisions, because you don't just jump off the cliff. You need that parachute. 4, create your legacy before you think about this lifestyle. Like I just said, YOLO. People is keeping up with, there's not even the Joneses anymore, just keeping up with what they see on socials. That stuff's not real. And the thing is, it's so crazy, is everybody knows it's not real. People are not living like that when they turn off the camera. Build your own legacy before you try to live a lifestyle that nobody else is living. Live yours. And really embody it to where it is yours, where you are living that life and you don't even need to show nobody, because that's the life you live in every single day. You don't need to show people to try to show it off, because it is what you do. You embody that. And then allow that to be written for you and generations to come. Stop trying to keep up with these people who ain't even keeping up with that. Build your legacy before you look at these lifestyles. Number 5, I'm frustrated a bit. Sorry. just, we are so much more than what we have made ourselves to be. We are so much more. We're so much more. Stop keeping up with people who will never even live that life. We're so much more. Number 5, establish your private wall. Decide what your mission will be, what will be exposed and what won't be. This is how we create a sovereign line. This is how we create and establish our sovereignty. You don't wait for your inheritance. You build that inheritance. Your sovereignty, it has to have a structure. Your legacy, you are the architecture of that. Your freedom, you form it. Now let's close with the HWPLP affirmation. Heal your mind, body, and spirit, and soul. Build the wealth that is your birthright. Live in a state of prosperity. Love unconditionally. And live in a state of peace. And so it is, so I am, and so it be. I want to thank you so much for joining me for this Generational Rhodium. I am Jazmian D with HWPLP, and I really, really, really look forward to seeing you next time. Until then, peace, love, and light. Thank you.